Good evening and welcome to the Phoenixville Area School District Board meeting for June 1st. It is 7:49 p.m. and I'm calling the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Cameron, will you please call the roll?
Sure. Dr. Alan Savage. Present. Dr. Halloran.
Here.
President Overland.
Here.
Mr. Perry. Ms. Remington.
Here.
Ms. Turner.
Here.
Mr. Venezia.
Here.
Ms. Walker. Present. Mr. Weiser.
Here.
We have 8 board members present.
And one student rep who's lurking in the back. If you want to sit with us, Gabe, you can still come on down. Oh, Bo, 2 student reps.
Me too.
Yes. Come and join us. You haven't graduated yet, so you're still with us. We'll put up the announcement of meetings. You'd see any past meetings that have been held, as well as upcoming meetings, including what will be an informational session that we will recess for later in this meeting, but we have some presentations from students. We want to be able to get to those. But since we have our student reps here with us, do you have any reports or any updates from the end of the year that you wanted to share with us?
We do not, but we just came here to say thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this opportunity for 2 years. It's been really nice getting to know you all and learning about the school board. And I'll say bye to all of you after the meeting as well. Do you want to say anything?
Okay. All right. Thank you, Gabe. It's been wonderful having you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just also want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been a great year, and I'm excited for next year as well.
You're sticking around as a senior rep, right? Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you, Gabe. It's been awesome having you here, and we really appreciated your updates and bringing us information from the high school and beyond. So good luck next year. I'm looking forward to seeing you at graduation next week. Okay, tonight we welcome Mr. Stephen Sealer, the interim principal, and Mr. Sammy Gonzalez, the incoming principal of Barkley Elementary School, to share some updates and happenings from Barkley. Welcome.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having us tonight. My name is Steve Seiler. I'm the interim principal at Barkley Elementary School. It's my privilege to introduce to you our new principal at Barkley Elementary School, Dr. Sammy Gonzalez.
Hello. Good evening. Well, good evening to everyone. I'm really excited to be here. My 5th day into the job. I'm already learning so much about Barkley. It's certainly a really unique and special community. The students here, as you're about to see, they are just fantastic. They really are insightful and, full of just a lot of energy and a lot of opportunities to learn so much from them. The teachers are extremely talented and dedicated to the students, and the community already has embraced me in such a profound way. So I'm very excited to be here and very excited to continue to contribute to the success of Barkley. So thank you for having me, and I'm excited for you guys to hear from the children. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Susan Bouquet. I've been able to support these guys. They've been fantastic, and they have a great story to tell about how doing the announcements every morning came to be.
Good evening, PASD School Board. I'm Vera Doherty. Can you imagine the school day starting without morning announcements? Well, this was almost the case at Barkley Elementary School because our former principal, who used to do the morning announcements, was moving on to a new job. This is where we came in. One afternoon, we were asked to take over the announcements. We realized how big of an opportunity this was, and we were so excited to get started. The first thing we had to do for this big change was learn the behind the scenes of the announcements. We had a meeting with Dr. Nick where we went over all the important things, like how to work the PowerPoint and using this app called Loom. During this meeting, we were introduced on Dr. Nick's announcements, so our school would know us. Soon after, we were off doing our first announcements by ourselves. We've come so far. We've come so far since the start. The team has improved so much, and we've learned so much about leadership and teamwork. All of us have done so much together, and we feel so lucky to share all of this with you. So now Ellie is going to tell you more about why we do this.
Hello, I am Ellie Mitchell, and I am here to tell you about why we do the morning announcements. We do this for all of the kids at Barkley. In the announcements, we want to make sure that we are motivating and getting everyone ready for the day with our daily positivity, our deep breathing, and a spunk it up slide. We also want to inform students about clubs and special events that are happening during the day with our Don't Forget slide. We want to make sure everybody at Barkley is being recognized and involved with shout-outs, jokes, and turn-in talks, and we also recognize everybody's birthday. We try to help everyone feel good about themselves, be kind to others, and develop positive self-talk. We respected Dr. Nick very much and wanted to keep the announcements going because we couldn't imagine a day where we came to school and didn't have the morning announcements to look forward to. Out of all of this, though, we mostly wanted to show kids that they can take charge and become leaders. Kids love opportunities to share their ideas, like in meetings with our superintendent, Mrs. McTiernan, and in simple things like being group leaders in projects. So going on with that, we are going to ask our 5th graders to do the announcements next year when they are in 6th grade. This way we can keep showing that students can be leaders and be independent. That is why we do the announcements every day. Now that you know why we do them, here Esme is going to explain how we do them.
Hello, I am Esme Dugan, and I'm going to tell you about our recording process. Every afternoon, we take 15 minutes of our day to film the announcements in Miss McKay's room for the next morning. First, we change the PowerPoint slides for the specific day. We change the date and cycle day, club reminders, birthdays, our Spunk It Up slide, and our daily positivity. Next, we get into our recording order. We take turns going first and have a set order from there. We line up and step into the view of the camera when it's our turn, then we circle the table and get back in the line for our next slide, similar to what we're doing right now. At the end, we all step into the camera to do our signature sign-off. Over time, we've changed things and added elements to our morning announcements process. Lucy is going to tell you about these changes.
Hello, good evening. My name is Luz Miranda. This evening I want to talk about changes we made in Dr. Nick's original announcements. From the start, we changed the pictures through the slides. The original pictures had cartoons of Dr. Nick. We changed one picture at a time to help Barkley students let go of Dr. Nick and get ready for Dr. Gonzalez. We also thought about the students who speak Spanish, which is when I was invited to be in the announcements to inform students about school in Spanish so they feel included. We also added a Spunk It Up slide, where we do jokes and shout-outs to people in the building so it can be more fun and get kids motivated to listen to us in the morning. Here's an example of one of our announcement recordings.
School. Today is Wednesday, May 27th, and today is day 3. Today we have garden club, bike club, and pickleball club. We also have a career day video. After today's announcements, all classrooms should take a moment to watch a quick video of this year's career day. This video will be sent through Parent Square later this week, so be sure to tell your families to read the Barkley Communications updates. The updates will also include a link with information about most of the businesses that visited this year's career day. Tell your families to check it out, and remember to support our local businesses.
Today we have a turn and talk. Would you rather be a movie star or a rock star? Turn and talk to your neighbor.
And remember, Barkley, keep using safety, teamwork, achievement, respect, and self-control. Keep earning those other points.
And there are no Barkley birthdays today.
And we have a Kind Act challenge today. Help a friend with homework or chores.
Y hoy ayuda a un amigo con su tarea o una tarea en casa.
And we have come to the end of our morning announcements, where we are going to do our deep breathing. So feet flat on the floor, back up straight, and shoulders relaxed. If you feel safe to do so, you can close your eyes. If not, just soften your gaze and stare at a spot on your desk or on the floor. Once again today, we are going to take 3 deep breaths to get us ready and focused for the day. Starting with your first deep breath in and hold. And let it out. Take another deep breath in and hold. and let it out. And take your third and final deep breath in and hold. Let it out. And you can open your eyes, Barkley.
Hopefully that got you ready and focused for a wonderful Wednesday. Remember, you don't just have to do your deep breaths with us. You can do them whenever you need to get yourself calm and refocused. 3 deep breaths reset your brain.
Have a great day, fans. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening. And here's Charlie to tell you about opportunities we've gotten because of doing the announcements.
Hi, my name is Charlie Rothenberger, and I'm going to tell you about some of the opportunities we have had because we took over the announcements. Our first opportunity was being able to interview our new principal, Dr. Gonzalez. Ms. Bakay emailed our teachers and had them send in questions that the kids wanted to know, and we used those to decide what questions to ask Dr. Gonzalez. We were then able to have Mr. Motzer from Phantom TV come and film us so that the video would look more polished. We also got the opportunity to come and speak at this meeting. At the beginning of 6th grade, none of us could have imagined that we would be here, and we are all excited to be able to be here. I am also going to talk about some of the effects that the 5 of us have been able to see within our school community. One of my favorites is when Luz walked into a 2nd grade classroom and saw a couple of girls pretending to be us while filming the announcements. They had made a paper computer and they were sitting in front of it, pretending that they were filming the announcements. The announcements also brought me, Vera, Esme, Ellie, Luz, and Miss Bakay closer together. Before the announcements, I had never really met Miss Bakay. She had subbed for my class a couple of times before, but not many. Then we started filming the announcements, and I was able to see her every day. It's the same with Luz. In Barkley's 6th grade, everyone is friendly with each other. It's hard not to be since there are only 45 of us, but we didn't really spend time together or hang out with the same groups of people. But now we see each other every day for 15 minutes. Getting to be the first students to run the announcements has been a huge honor. It has also been great to know that when we leave Barkley in 9 days, we get to know that we have made an impact on the Barkley community that will last for a very long time. Thank you for inviting us to speak at this meeting. Have a great evening, Phantoms. Thank you. Bye.
Congratulations. Good job. While they're running out. Thank you for coming. That is fantastic, and I think we may need some 3 deep breath moments throughout the rest of the evening. So we will, yeah. Now we're going to move on to the recognition of our 2025-2026 PSD retirees. I think we have some here with us tonight. So if you are here with us, are we doing this one at a time?
Yeah.
You want to come up as, if you're here, come on down as I call your name. All right, Karen Smith. Is Karen Smith here?
To handle them, or do you want me to
Well-
call and you can go down and shake their hand?
Yeah, sure, if they're here.
Karen Smith, are you here? Okay. Lisa Snake, are you here? No? David Robinson. Sorry. David Robinson? Louis Brignola? No? Arthur Carucci? No? Elizabeth Ann Ellinger, otherwise known as Betsy, what we call her. How many? Yes. And I believe it's 38 years, Betsy? 36. Amazing. 26, got it. Dr. G, I know you're here, 26 years. I think you got a new sport coat for the picture, Dr. G. You definitely did. Ken Gibson, 11 years. Trish Kenzel, I know you are here, 34 years of service. Amazing. Is she here? Steph McElwain, are you here? 17 years? No, Steph is not here. Linda Miller? No. Shirley May? No. Monica Steck? Ginger Gal Carnes? No. And Tammy Kurtz? No? Okay. I think it's important to note that we did have a employee recognition, so all of these employees were recognized, and this was another event that we wanted to do with the board. So thank you for those that attended.
And again, on behalf of the school board, we want to extend our heartfelt gratitude and best wishes to our dedicated staff members. And collectively, they represent an extraordinary 363 years of service to the students and families of PASD. So thank you all so much. Okay. We're now going to move off from our fun portion into the discussion of committee meetings and future voting items, which can be fun also. We're going to start with our board personnel and finance chair, Mr. Frank Venezia, with an update from his meeting earlier.
So you bet. Thanks, Mr. Oberlin. So in the Finance and Personnel Committee meeting earlier, we discussed the personnel report, which we'll be voting on shortly, and included the resignation of Ibis Enriquez, the appointment of Melanie Zaborowski as a speech-language pathologist, 2 extra pay for extra duty positions, coaches for the boys golf team, 2 summer program staff members, Sadie Barr and Denise Williams, and also a transfer of Kadjedia Nash. She'll be moving from kindergarten to first grade at the Early Learning Center. On the finance portion of the Finance and Personnel Committee agenda, we went over these will be voted on in 2 weeks. The voting meeting on the 15th, the disbursement of school funds report, the treasurer's report. Dr. Melber walked us through an agreement with the CCIU for medical access authorization. Also with the CCIU, the marketplace contract and pricing schedule. We'll have the approval of our annual contract extension with ESS, outlining some of the hourly rates for substitute staff positions. We went over 3 tax assessments that were settled and the associated changes to the tax receipts for each of those 3 properties. We'll be approving the property and liability insurance for the upcoming year, renewal of an agreement with Rothman for sports medicine and physicians coverage agreements specific to home football game representation, an approval of an agreement with the Chester County Juvenile Probation Center for the upcoming school year. We'll be approving our MOU with the YMCA for emergency support. And that was it.
All right, thank you very much,
Sure.
Mr. Venezia. Any questions for him? Okay, Dr. Halloran, do you want to give an update on the policy committee?
Yes, earlier this evening we had a policy committee meeting with a single agenda item, that of the technology in schools. Dr. Pacito and Mr. Obrecker presented information on the district's current policy and position on ed tech. We had a lot of conversation and feedback from the public, and discussed the time frame and the considerations that are on the table, including a whitelist, including an opt-out, and several other more immediate impacts from the technology changes or the feedback that we've gotten. And we're looking forward to further conversation and convening of all the stakeholders around that conversation. So that was it from policy.
All right, thank you, Dr. Halloran. We'll also have the minutes from the May 18th meeting on the consent agenda later this evening. We'll move into our board representative reports. And sticking with Dr. Halloran, is there a PCF update?
There is not a PCF update. The next meeting is actually on the 15th, coinciding with our next board meeting as well.
Okay, Mr. Perry is not here, so we'll get a CCIU update next time. Mr. Weiser, do you have a legislative update?
No major updates, and I'll leave it at that for the sake of time tonight.
Okay. Ms. Remington, do you have a library update?
No, I will have an update at the next meeting. The library board met tonight.
Okay, thank you. Ms. McTiernan, do you have a superintendent's report?
I do. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. First of all, I am proud to announce that this year's Phoenixville Area High School class of 2026 valedictorian is, drum roll please, Vivona Zhu. Congratulations to her. And our salutatorian is Declan McQuiston. So congratulations to both of those students. They have demonstrated exceptional academic achievement, dedication, and perseverance throughout their high school careers. On behalf of the administration and the entire Phoenixville area school district community, congratulations to both students on this remarkable accomplishment. I'd also like to recognize these outstanding accomplishments of our student musicians. On Friday, May 29th, the vocal ensemble, chamber strings, and jazz band represented Phoenixville Area School District at the Music in the Parks with exceptional performances. The chamber strings earned a superior rating and placed first in their division. The jazz band received an excellent rating and placed second in their division. The vocal ensemble earned a superior rating, placed first in their division, and was awarded Best Overall Middle School Choir. Congratulations to all of these talented performers and to their directors for their hard work, dedication, and commitment to excellence. We are incredibly proud of you. Finally, I'm sure those of you that have been attending are sick of me saying this, but I want to remind everybody, just because of what happened to last year, graduation is scheduled for the 11th, which is next Thursday. If it rains, then it will be scheduled on Friday. If it rains both days, then it will be indoors on Friday night. And right now, we need to do the get away from the rain dance, because right now the weather is showing rain on both days. So I just want to keep everybody included on that so everyone knows what's going on. And we look forward to graduation, whether it's indoors or outdoors, but we look forward to celebrating our class of 2026. Thank you to everybody. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Mrs. McTiernan.
Sure.
At this point, we are going to take open public comment on the consent agenda items. And we have one person signed up, Lisa Longo. And as a reminder, you know the shtick, but say your name.
I get it. On this one, I'm here to just ask a very specific question on the consent agenda. There are two items relating to curriculum, item 6, item 11. Do either of these include funds for EdTech or curriculum in any way? If so, I would ask that they be removed from the consent agenda, voted on separately, and debated based upon the conversations we're having around technology policy. So again, it's item 6, which is the overall secondary curriculum revisions and new courses. Item 11, which is the approval of a renewal item for products and services with Edmentum. I'm asking they be removed from the consent agenda, debated, and voted on separately. Thank you.
Thank you. As a reminder, the consent agenda this evening has our personnel report, approval of board docs for a cost of $18,000 for a term of July 1st, 2026 to July 30th, 2027. Approval of a teacher formal observation protocol. Policy 610, purchases subject to bid quotation. Policy 611, purchases budgeted. Curriculum, secondary curriculum revisions and new courses. The approval of an agreement with the interim healthcare of Chester, Delaware, and Philadelphia counties for healthcare staffing services 2026-2027. Approval of an agreement with the Temple University Real Estate Institute Partnership Program, exciting. Approval of the compensation agreement with College 7 Education for ESY services. Approval of a textbook, the High School Health Basics 14th edition. Approval of the renewal agreement of products and services with Edmentum for a term of August 1st, 2026 through July 31st, 2027. Approval of disposal of textbooks and library books. Approval of the agreement with the Better View Counseling and Trauma Recovery Service for 2026-2027. Approval of an agreement with Brandywine Virtual Academy for 2026-2027. Approval of an MOU with Grand Canyon University for field placement for a term of April 28th, 2026 through April 28th, 2029. Approval of an ELD Professional Learning Services Agreement with Chester County Intermediate Unit for a term of August 15th, 2026 through June 1st, 2027. Acceptance of the Library Board recommendations to approve Becky Bulby to the Phoenixville Library Board of Trustees for a 3-year term from July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2029. Acceptance of the Library Board recommendation to appoint Krista Lazarek to the Phoenixville Library Board of Trustees for a 3-year term from July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2029. And approval of the minutes from the May 18th meeting. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Ms. Walker, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Ms. Turner, is there any discussion?
Can I just ask for clarification? Edmentum is a diagnostic tool, not an instructional tool. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, is there any other, Mr. Weiser?
Forget the terminology that Graham used before. Item number 2, can we pull that off the agenda for discussion?
We can, you want to have that as a separate roll call?
Yeah, the board docs.
Sure.
Can we do that, or can Graham, I mean, does
We're doing it
Mr.
in a
Weiser
second.
just have the option to vote no on something that he doesn't like in the consent agenda?
I mean, do you want me to have the conversation now then?
Yeah, we can discuss
okay.
it now. It's on the consent agenda.
Okay. So I'm still unclear. What exactly for board docs? What exactly are concerns with ending this? Is it just, because it sounds to me like it's just getting the information out of board docs? Is that fair to say?
Can you clarify, getting it out? You mean?
We have the agendas, we have the board packet.
That it's housing all of our
It's
our
housing all
data.
that currently, yes. So the
Correct.
concern was, it's not easy to get out and archive, so to speak.
The concern is we don't have another platform right now to forward that information to another platform. I know that you had stated that, and this, I can't answer that, but I know you had stated that there must be like putting it somewhere and housing it somewhere. I'm not sure, I haven't been presented with any options of other places to put this, but the history that's in board docs right now, yes, that is a concern.
So if we had everything that, I mean, again, ignoring policy documents, because we have a spot for that. If we had PDF documents of everything as it exists in board docs, public and private, and what I'm getting to is, in my frustration, I did that. So if it's having those documents that's stopping us from not renewing this, we have the documents.
Can I
It just seems
throw
like
in
the
there, I
question.
think it's not just do we have them, it's are they secure? That was the other issue of why we didn't move to the Keystone portal, is because of the security issue. When we moved, we talked about housing everything in one spot, correct?
Right, so, but I mean, the agendas are, I mean, I don't understand the security aspect of it, at least for public agendas. It's PDF documents.
It's everything that's
anybody-
listed in there under administrative content and executive content.
So, yeah, I mean, I have that same thing as well.
Correct,
I mean, we also have Microsoft storage, we have other locations, SharePoint, like.
which we have been burned in the past by using storage that is not secure. Can we have, Mr. Obrecker, I hate to put you on the spot, but I'm going to. And again, because I think you not being included in this conversation is not right. So the question, I know that you are familiar with the questions that we're asking, and it sounds to me like I'm being asked, can we take all the history of board docs And if we're not talking about now agendas, we're not talking about future agendas or the weekly packet, because it sounds like they would like another alternative to that. And do we have someplace to store all of that?
Is the question is, can we take everything and put it in a spot, not necessarily for public consumption, but can we just take it and have it? Yes, we can do that. I was asked to review board books solution, and it did not meet security standards. And I think, I mean, as much as I know you openly do not like board docs, you would like this even less if you saw it, trust me. Is that what you need to hear?
Yes, you answered the question about, and so would we be, I guess my question to you is, would we be able to extract all of this? So we have a means to extract all this information and all the history that's in board docs?
We would have to reach out to board docs to find out what that looks like. I know that in my research, again, I was asked to look at another platform, as other districts were, by the way. I should also add, other Chester County districts are looking at it too. My understanding is people are staying with board docs.
Yes.
I mean, I did not see anything in board books that made me want to jump ship to that personally. I am aware that board docs does work with, they do work to get data migrated, files migrated to other platforms. We would have to reach out to them to see what that looks like to get, I mean, it's ours. So, everything, you're right, it is in PDF form.
The other question I have, and maybe this is for Dr. McClure, as I'm thinking about this question being asked to me. Dr. McClure, as we move forward, the history of our documents, and I know board docs is not ADA compliant, does our history of our documents need to be ADA compliant as we move forward?
Anything that would need to be later accessed, yes. So things that are archived that are sort of not in use anymore do not need to be remediated, but anything that we would have to need to access, we would have to do.
So I guess my question is to the board, how do we take the history of our documents and make them ADA compliant without the means? And I'm just asking this question because this by no means is my expertise. But
didn't you say that we don't have to do the history?
If we,
unless we're going to need to use it, yes, it
the
would
history, right.
But they're not ADA compliant now.
Correct.
Right, but it potentially could be a two-step process. So if we are going to look to move something, then we'd have to do it now, and then we might have to do it again in a different format. So that was another concern.
Right, but I guess what I'm trying to understand is, wouldn't we have to do that regardless?
Right, but hopefully only once we determine where that next place is. But if we're looking at a temporary solution to another problem, then we may potentially have to do it twice, right?
And I guess my other question is, if we move to, I know that board docs is looking at becoming ADA compliant, the new diligent. So would that process be done for us by using the new platform, by moving to that? And I don't think we can answer that right now, but these are just all the questions I have regarding.
It'd be the content that's in, like, for instance, right here in the platform. That might be something that they would handle, but any of those PDFs we would have to handle because we're putting those in there.
Right.
We're trying to move away from PDFs in general anyway, so.
Dr. McClure, is that deadline still 2027?
No, it is 2028. We got another year. Sure. Yeah, so we were granted the extra year based on our population.
Yep.
And then they moved the year forward because most people were not going to be ready.
So outside of board docs, they're, like you said, they're likely going to be doing their own platform, but then we're going to still be responsible for our documentation.
Correct.
So where are we currently in that process?
With board docs, we haven't even started that. We've been focusing on our website.
Our website, okay.
Yeah, most of our website is almost fully compliant.
Okay, and then what's our next step after the website?
So we are now working on next steps for curriculum items, and then training for staff of creating new things moving forward of what that would have to look like. And also we're in the process of evaluating all of our other platforms, because we will have anything that we require people to use will have to be compliant. So we need to get the documentation from all of those companies, which are in the process of acquiring, as well as, what am I missing? We just talked about all this. Sorry, I wasn't quite ready to say all this. No, it's okay. So it'll be all of those other pieces, and then also our sort of future ready plan of what we would lay out. So that's being in the process of being created as a project for this summer.
And just to take it one step further, where does that stand with our Canvas and all of that?
That's the next piece, because instructional stuff was not originally part of these new guidelines, and that was just an addition as of relatively recently. So that's our next step. So we're very happy for that extra 2 years.
Thank you, Dr. McClure.
So in summary, my knowledge of board docs is basically the same as yours. I was asked to look at another platform that did not even live up to this. If we were able to extract our information, can we house it somewhere? Yes, we could. We could house it somewhere.
Thank you both. And I do apologize for putting you on the spot, but thank you.
Ms. Remington?
I just want to anecdotally say, as someone who does data extraction for a living, that doing that migration twice would probably be far more expensive than the $18,000 for extending one term. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm holding my nose with this one because I think none of us are happy with board docs, but the sort of direction we gave last year was like, let's, over this next year, figure out a solution. But
What would the alternative, if we didn't renew, what would the alternative be come July 2nd? How would we access?
Mr. Weiser wrote a program.
I spent 15 minutes on a Python script. But basically, everything from board docs, public agendas and everything like that, PDF document, it sucks. Board docs already sucks. But we have it. Fundamentally, and it doesn't seem like there's enough support for this, but fundamentally it's something to me that's just very low hanging fruit, and $18,000 could be put to better use. If we find out, and the other thing is I think I heard in the past, board docs should or may come out with ADA compliant, and maybe they'll get better, but working in the fields, that's marketing for we don't have it, and maybe we will, maybe we won't. So for me, it's not to be thank you for your input, and I'll also apologize for being a thorn in everyone's side here. But for me, it's a waste of $18,000. So it's just frustrating to me. That's all.
Agreed. All right. Any other discussion on other items or this one or other comments? Okay. If not, Ms. Cameron, can you please call the roll?
Ms. Remington?
Yes.
Ms. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Venezia?
Yes.
Ms. Walker? Aye. Mr. Weiser?
Yes, on all but two.
So 6 and 11?
What? No, he said two.
Sorry,
Just number two. Okay,
number
we should be
two.
at
Yes,
two,
yeah,
okay.
no, sorry.
Number 2. Dr. Alan Savage? I accept 2. Dr. Halloran?
Yes.
Mr. Perry, not present. President Overland?
Aye.
Okay, so we have a motion passing 8-0, except for one item with number 2.
Yeah, passes
A
6-2.
6-2.
Yes. Excellent. Okay, we are now going to move into the open public comment section on roll call items. So that is the annual tax levy resolution, the approval of the resolution adopting the district's 2026-2027 budget in the amount of $124,352,014 with a 3.5% tax increase, and the approval of the 2025-2026 homestead and farmstead exclusion resolution. And our first person is Miss Lisa Longa. Come on down. And again, 3 minutes, you know.
Thanks. First of all, how do you vote on a budget without understanding every line item in it? How do you vote to approve a budget when you can't answer some basic questions? I mean, these are important numbers here. I ask this board right now, how much is in the budget for repairs and maintenance? What's the line item? Do you know? Excuse me? Does anybody know? How much is in for the self-insurance? Dollars. You guys should know the answers to every single one of these questions, right? How much is the savings by not having the music teacher come back, the long-term sub? dollars. The reduction for health, PE, what are the dollars? Now, maybe some of you know the answer, maybe all of you know the answer. I don't know, but I asked you all, and nobody responded. Scott responded and thanked me for my email, and thank you for that. But you didn't answer any of my questions, and nobody else bothered to respond. That leads me to believe you don't know the answers. And if you don't know the answers, you can't vote on the budget. It's simply unconscionable. It's irresponsible. And it's a dereliction of your duty as elected officials. You should put off this vote. You should be asking those questions. I sent you the sample budget presentation. You saw the level of detail we used to go into. That was at every budget. That wasn't just one off. I didn't keep all my documents because then we weren't allowed to keep them on our home computer because of security. I had that one, mea culpa. But it was a public document. So I'm not doing anything wrong. But here's the thing. When you look at that budget presentation I sent you, if you guys don't have all that information, you have no business not fully funding these positions that benefit the students, because your number one job here is to take care of the students. The second job is the faculty, and the third job is the community. And whenever we had a vote, I always asked those questions of administration. How does that impact my students? How does that impact my faculty? How does that impact my taxpayers? And that was the order of importance to me. So please do not vote on this tonight. Give yourselves 2 more weeks. Ask those questions. Talk to the parents. When I went onto the website to look for notification of this budget meeting, which, by the way, I cannot find anywhere, there was nowhere that said, come to the board meeting tonight because we're voting on a budget. I had to hear about it from other people. That in and of itself should make you vote against this tonight. But when I go onto the website, you know the first thing I saw? Excellence in music. Really? I heard the superintendent's report talking about excellence in music. And yet we're going to do away with an important music position. Then I hear we're also doing away with an art position, health, PE, the things that will help our students be healthy and grow and be successful in life. Meanwhile, we don't know how much we're spending on ed tech. We don't have an answer to that. We don't know how much is in the self-insurance fund. We don't know these things. Please do not vote. It takes 5 of you to do the right thing.
Thank you, Ms. Longo. Kristen Myers.
Good evening, school board members. My name is Kristen Myers, East Pikeland resident. I have currently a 9th grader and a 2025 graduate. My 9th grader is in orchestra and was in band. My graduate was in orchestra and band every year she could be and still continues in college to play in her orchestra band. For the past few meetings, you have heard a lot of different people speak about our music program and the changes that happened this year and that are coming next year. You have also heard the impact of the music program on these students and how the changes are negatively impacting them. My ask is you convert the long-term sub to a contracted position. Yes, I know we have 11 contracted music employees this year, and we will have 11 contracted music employees next year. But did you know that last school year, we had 11.5 contracted music employees? Not 11. So yes, there was a cut between last year and this year in our contracted positions. Somewhere from when that position was posted to when that position was hired, it was changed to a long-term sub. Why? There was a right-to-know request made by Trevor. He received a 30-day extension. The information he requested was data that was used to make music staffing decisions. If this data was used to make the staffing decisions, then why can't that data be provided in the 7 days? Why did he need to wait an additional 30 days, which is after the next board meeting, to present this to you guys? After talking to a board member, I think there is some disconnect or confusion that comes from when we opened Hares Hill and moving 6th grade down to elementary school. Music programs are not like history and English classes. You just can't move a teacher to a new building and say, woohoo, life is grand. Music programs have lessons per instrument. Viola and violin, even though they're both string instruments, put them next to together, 90% of people can't tell them apart, except they're on two different clefs. You cannot have lessons of those two instruments together. Just like you can't have flute and you can't have clarinet. You can't have 20 flute players in a lesson and teach them all. They have to be taught based on their level. In middle school, last year, before we moved 6th graders down, there was a 6th grade band, a 6th grade orchestra,
30 seconds,
a 7th and 8th grade band, and a 7th and 8th grade orchestra. And the reason being, when you bring elementary students back into the middle school, that first year, you have to figure out where everyone is and level them out and bring them up together to form a band or form an orchestra. As long as, I spoke last year with library when we opened a new school. I think when we opened the new school and moved 6th grade down, we didn't dive into those little pieces that make up and support our students.
Time's up.
I just also want to say thank you, Missy. I had all the list here of the awards the middle school got, so you just beat me to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. Okay. So just two quick notes on the roll call. Both the annual tax levy and the homestead, farmstead say 25, 26, doesn't need to say 26, 27. Although they do appear to be correct in the actual linked documents. But yeah. So the first roll call item is the approval of the 2026, 2027 annual tax levy resolution. So may I have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Okay, Ms. Turner.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Walker. Now discussion?
On all three or
No,
just?
this is on, they're each individual items. Yes, this is just on the 26, 27 tax levy resolution.
Okay, I just have a general concern.
Sure.
Because it feels like a lot of times we are just rubber stamping these tax increases. And I get it if we're using our resources in a way that is impactful for our students. But I have heard meeting after meeting things that I'm not even aware of. The fact that we don't have a middle school reading specialist or math interventionist, I'm like flabbergasted. Why haven't these things, or are they planned in the budget? Are we filling these needs in the upcoming year? How are these being addressed? The music program issues, while we're saying, on the district side that we have those resources covered, obviously there is an issue, right? Obviously. So we cannot ignore that. We can't continue to just say, oh, well, we're not coming up with any rationale or any reasoning to, properly or to bring in more resources or allocate more resources to that specific department. We have to do a better job of assessing what those needs are, because we're seeing that the community is saying, hey, we are being impacted by these various decisions that are being made. So for me, I just, before we continue to just say, okay, yes, we're going to increase taxes for a new building or all of the things that we'd like to see at the high school, I think we really need to make sure that we're allocating these resources where we need them.
So I can try to address your question. So the first question what you asked about was interventionist, and there will be an interventionist at the middle school. Is one enough? Actually, no, it's not. We would love to have two. But there is one. It's actually one of our teachers that's actually here will be one of our interventionists for next year. So do we have enough K to 12? No, that was the correspondence that I put to the board this weekend. Definitely not. And we can use more K to 12 for sure. Definitely. The second question you asked was regarding music. We had another meeting today. Actually, Mr. Lee, you are here today. We met with you today, along with Ms. Mall. I feel that it was a very productive meeting. One of the things that we asked, Mr. Lee, if you're comfortable with our discussion, one of the things we asked the teachers to bring to us are, because we've heard keep the halftime position, add a position. I believe we both came to a consensus today that there's more work to do with regards to, and Mr. Lee, please correct me if I'm wrong, there's more work to do with regards to just saying that we need an additional position. It became clear today. I think the music K to 12, we have tasked the music teachers with meeting this summer and coming up with a more strategic plan, and so that it was justifiable that we were adding that position, because I think we both agreed that we weren't there right now. So they're going to look at K to 12. I believe the plan is they're going to look at a more comprehensive plan, K to 12, meet with those individuals that would like to meet over the summer, and then come back to us in the beginning of August with regards to the path forward in music. And that was a summary of the meeting today. So I'm trying to answer your questions. It would be helpful if you had specifics that I could try to address.
And I appreciate that, Missy. I did receive your email about the music program, and I think it's wonderful that you guys met with Mr. Lee. I think the problem I'm having is just wrapping my head around the fact that we have had community member after community member raise a concern about the music program, whether it is a lack of instructional hours for their students, whether it's just the growth of the program, whether it's wanting to see it continue to thrive. I think we can't just overlook those things and say, because when you say there's still work to be done, I don't necessarily know what that entails or know what that means in how we are addressing the specific concerns that we're hearing from our stakeholders.
I think that's what we've been trying to identify. What is it that our students aren't going to receive? That's the question that we've been asking. And to be very transparent, that has not been identified right now. And what is this staff member that has been asked? The question we asked is, what are they going to do? What is their schedule? Who are they going to service? And that is a question that we haven't been able to get an answer to. So I understand there's been a lot of concerns, and I do believe that there's been misinformation. Why, I'm not really sure. We did meet with, this is my second meeting with Mr. Lee. Ms. Mall joined us today, and we asked those questions again. So I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that what they're saying is not true. I'm just saying I can't come to the board and ask for more staffing when I don't know where that individual is actually going to be placed and who they're going to serve. I think you should expect that of me, and I think I should be able to say that, especially considering that, there are always going to be needs and there are always requests. And I think that's the balancing of staffing. There's no doubt about it. We do it every year. Would we love to add more staff? I mean, we have projected, I believe, approximately $1 million in extra staffing that we proposed to the board with the district climate and culture position, the community liaison, 3 special education teachers, a job coach. So what we do in staffing is we go through requests, and after our meetings with principals, we come back and we say, okay, What is it that we aren't going to be delivered because we don't have that staff? And that obviously takes a priority. We've identified the director of climate and culture has been talked about for 3 years. That's something that, we brought to the board has asked for, the community has asked for, staff has asked for. Now, I will say that since we've had these conversations, some staff have voiced their concerns about adding a district level position, for sure. That has come up in conversations, that has come up with some people in the room that are sitting in front of me. But again, we can go on and on and on with the request that we have in front of us. We present to you what we feel we need at this time, as opposed to what we'd like to have.
Well, I think that's part of my struggle.
Okay.
Right? Because we are not operating in a deficit. And I don't appreciate the constant narrative that we are in this somehow zero-sum game where we're having to sacrifice these various positions for other positions when we have a strong financial position, unless I'm wrong, unless somehow we haven't had surpluses on a continuous basis. And not that I'm not appreciative of it, but I think if we're going to continue to say we're raising taxes, we're going to budget conservatively, we're going to then also, sacrifice positions that are needed, I just don't feel comfortable with that. For me, student services, student impact is priority. That is top priority. So when we're looking at what we need, and we don't have a middle school math intervention specialist, we don't have a reading specialist. I mean, to me, and then we're only getting one. To me, when we're talking about positions like a job coach, I would think the priority would go to someone who is an interventionist or a specialist in those areas where we know it's going to directly impact the student experience. So that, I guess I'm trying to, and then we're spending money too on security, which, we spent, what was that? Close to $500,000, if not over, $500,000. I just think we need to make sure, and this may not, necessarily directly be about you, but with the board, when we're going in later and establishing these goals, we need to talk about the board's priority as well, so that, administration has some guidance moving forward to know where those priorities lie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is the absolutely the purpose of the goals. I think the other thing that's important to note that is a little bit lost or maybe glossed over is that we, have a statutory requirement to pass a budget by June 30th, but the budget numbers that we are passing in here, it's the top line budget and the tax increase. So we are not in this budget saying that all that extra money is going to the high school renovation, although, that's a discussion we're going to be having. If we have this review over the summer and there's things identified in the music program and we as a board say we want to put those resources there instead, like we have that available. If we don't pass this proposed budget, our hands will be tied until next year. So we're not voting on everything. I'm sorry. Everything as it is. We are voting on the top line amount. Things are laid out as they're proposed. If we need to make a change, that we can direct administration.
I think that's an important point, right? I certainly don't feel like this is a rubber stamp. I mean, we've come here 6, 7 straight months going over a pro forma budget in January, February, March, April, May, et cetera. And I think to President Overland's point, we settled on a proposed increase that would allow for operational expenditures involving the staffing increases, student programs, and a fair amount that would be allocated or earmarked towards the high school renovation. But I think to President Overland's points, it sounds like there's a fair amount of energy around various programs throughout the district, and the administration, which we need to task them with doing so, right, to your point, clearly lay out what the priorities are. I think with the budget that's being proposed now, it affords us the flexibility to make those adjustments and guide the administration accordingly, and potentially still be in a good position to invest in the high school facility.
And I think, I love everything that you're saying, but that's not the narrative that has been proposed. And that's not what I've heard from the stakeholders again and again. The narrative has been that we are sacrificing certain positions for other positions, that we have to pick and choose what we're putting our money into. So I think we need to make sure that we're communicating that we're doing a good job of laying that out for the stakeholders, making sure that we're all on the same page. Because I, to your point, I do think that's important to say, okay, yes, we've earmarked this for the high school, but then we also have this money allocated for whatever we need. But I'm also hearing that we haven't necessarily earmarked that money for those specific needs that we have. So that's what I'm trying to make sure that we have clarity on.
Yeah, I also want to point out, like, I understand what's being said, but the issue with it that I'm taking right now is, yes, we might need that money for something we can decide what we want that money to go towards, but shouldn't we decide that now and then pass the budget after that? Like, I want to feel like I want to feel like I know what I'm voting on, honestly. And if yes, we will have this conversation, and yes, we can work to prioritize certain things. That's, in my mind, that's kind of what our job is. But until we have that conversation, or until we have a conversation of what our district goals are, it's frustrating to me because I feel like I'm approving this line item before I even know what buckets things are going into. And I find that very frustrating.
Well, I think that the buckets are laid out right now. I mean, as you know, in the budget, we have an amount that is theoretically going towards the high school renovation. If we change our priorities and say we want to put that towards staffing, if there's 5 votes that want to do that, then we can reallocate that. We are under a pretty tight time frame. We have 1 meeting left before the deadline. Yeah. And in between now and then, we're going through graduation, end of school year, administration and staff are in a very busy period. So I agree, as you like to say, I see your point. I kind of agree with you, but I think that we as a board, to Ms. Walker's point, need to do a good job of laying out what our vision is. We've talked about this on a number of things, whether it's music, world language. If we want to prioritize these and say, let's not keep the staffing the same, let's increase it in a certain area, let's invest those resources, we need to do that as a board and give that vision to administration so that they can shift those resources around. Because our job is not to go in to the line item level and be going through and picking and choosing every single item. That's the administration. We give them the vision, and they help to fulfill that vision.
So there's a couple things that we've talked about. So one, Ms. McTiernan, I heard you say that there are folks that are having an issue around the climate and culture person.
Correct.
And so to those people, that position will actually help with these conversations. Because what we see is we have 3 schools that don't have even the same resources. When we talk about policy, that role should be able to go into our policies and say, this is equitable, we're in compliance, I understand, I can explain it at a 5th grade level to our community so everyone can understand. So I want us to be very careful for the things that we are going against and very careful in regards to the things that we are rallying around. So that's my first comment. The climate culture coordinator is much needed with this district. All the complaints and concerns that were brought forward today, that individual can have eyes on these things. 2, Scott, I know you mentioned we're in a time crunch. Does this need to be voted on tonight? Probably. Where's Jeremy? Is Jeremy in the room? Does this absolutely have to be voted on tonight? 100%.
You have 30 days.
We have 30 more days?
You have till June 30th.
So we can actually vote on this next meeting if there's more conversation that needs to be had. The third point is that I'm tired of seeing all these teachers after school in this meeting telling us over and over again what they need. They should be home with their families, but they continue to show up because they're our students, where our students are their biggest priority. And so at some point you have to listen and figure out what is what. The other pieces that are just a little concerning to me is that this is our art, our music, our reading specialist, our math interventionist, our gym class, our library, our Carnegie Library. So if passports don't come back, what is the plan for them? What is going to happen? Are we allocating money on the side in case that doesn't pan out to support our Carnegie Library? There are a lot of things that are kind of still up in the air in limbo. And so it is important for us, now that we have awareness. I don't believe in just intent and impact. I believe in having awareness and then being intentional and making good decisions. We have awareness that there's a lot of things that are missing. I always say we don't talk about middle school and elementary school enough. We love our high school. We want to talk about getting them out, getting them to the next stage. It makes us look good. We prepare them. We have 100% graduation rate. We're dealing with the 22-year-olds that haven't graduated yet. We're doing all these things, but our middle schoolers, where they are having the most tumultuous time during their student development, during adolescence. I have a 12-year-old. Okay. And so we're skipping over one of the very critical parts of their development. And so I just think that now that we have even more awareness tonight because of people who came up to the podium, and I will say they came up to the podium bravely, because they also run the risk when they come up to the podium and they're speaking their mind and they're speaking against, I don't agree with that. They also know that there is a potential for there to be retaliation. We hope not, but it could be, where they're going against other colleagues that are saying, just let it be, right? Don't make it worse for us. And so they are very brave to come up to the podium and speak on behalf of their schools that they represent. And so now that we have awareness, we have to be intentional. And in order to do that, we don't rush. If we have 30 days, we use those 30 days. Now, does that mean we might have to have another meeting after the 15th? That wouldn't be the first time we did that, and for less at stake. We've had meetings during the summer where it has been on Zoom for less.
Our equity, inclusion, belonging goal, I think it's a pretty important one.
And perhaps, but we have people who are saying that that's not a worthy cause. So I think. Now, I don't like to be cut off.
Oh, sorry.
So what I think is that we need to really put some thought and time, not that Jeremy has not done an excellent job, because I do not negate any of the time or effort that Jeremy has put in, Dr. Melber. However, I just think we should take the extra time to have some conversations, regardless of where the money is going. What is our vision? What are we putting value on? And what are we saying we stand for, and let our money also back up what we're saying.
So you're sort of putting you're saying that we don't need to rush this, but we've been having these conversations for a long time. Our hands are not tied by passing the budget. We can continue to have those discussions. What I'm saying is that there's a very busy period of time coming up where teachers and administrators are dealing with graduation, they're closing down the schools, and then a lot of people have vacations right after schools.
I think that's fine. I think that's fine that everyone's life is happening. Okay.
Yeah,
it's been busy all year.
Okay.
And it's so busy that they're sitting in the audience tonight. So I listen. We'll go back and forth in regards to timing. I'm never going to rush something.
Well, I don't think it's a rush.
Well, No, we've taken time to talk. But now we have things that we were unaware of that have been presented to us. And now it's like, well, we got summer coming up, people are going away, we got this, we got vacation, we got this. And I'm saying,
that is a disingenuous
but I'm saying,
presentation
you just
we have been listening.
Now, Scott.
Stephanie.
You just got done saying, roll the tape, Joe, that we have all these things going on. We've been talking about it for a long time. We have. However, our solicitor just said we have 30 days. So we can use those 30 days. They have shown up tonight. It is 8:57. Our teachers have shown up.
Yes.
We continue to show up, and we make sacrifices for our families to be here. I'm sure we can find time to have a discussion. I'm not saying this process has been rushed, but if we have the time, we can use the time to have further discussion, to be even more intentional, because as I have already said, per my previous email, we just became aware of things that we didn't know about. There's nothing wrong with having continued discussion.
So I guess from my perspective, I mean, I'm fine waiting. I mean, I feel relatively well prepared. I think at a macro level, though, from a budgeting standpoint, number one, the number that's put in front of us represents the top of the Act 1 index. So that, if whatever discussions happen over the next 30 days, that can't go higher, right? I'm presuming that based on the conversations we want to have, we don't want it to go lower either. So it feels to me like we'll be back here in 30 days voting on the same number, but perhaps we've had more discussion around the guidance and the advice we want to provide the administration on how to line item it and how to spend it. And it feels like that can happen anyway, right? Because we're working under the same parameters. Does that make sense?
Oh, well, let's go around. Let's go to. I think we're all in agreement about the end goal. It's a tactical decision of the next 14 or 30 days. So let's go around and just see if there's other thoughts. We're not having public comment right now. Let's hear from other board members.
I guess I just wanted to ask a clarifying question. So really the debate is, I think what we said, what 1.8 would be going towards, 1.6 would be going towards the budget this year, but the 3.5. So it's really what in between there we want to dedicate to this year's overall budget, right? That's like.
You're talking about the overages?
Yeah, because we're hitting the 3.5 regardless.
Oh, yeah, the percent, right, correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So in between now and next meeting, what needs to happen? Like what are, I guess, how would we present the date? What are we asking for? Just so there's clarity.
I mean, yeah, I think that's a question maybe for administration. Like if the board was to, between now and 2 weeks from now or something, provide additional guidance on areas we wanted more investment in, would you then, within the following 2 weeks after that, be able to give concrete recommendations on how to achieve those, or would it take more time than that?
I mean, we'll deliver what you ask us. I guess my question is, when considering, first thing I'm going to say is the board has control over who we hire. So you can always say no to the positions that are in the budget if we were to recommend somebody. The positions, I want to go back to one comment that was made around the job coach. There is impact on students with regards to that job coach position because our kids wouldn't be able to go out to the job sites without an adult with them. So when I talk about needs and wants, those are the things that we evaluate. What has to happen in order for this to take place? And we were told by the special education supervisor that some of our kids would not be able to go out to the sites without that individual with them. To me, that's a no-brainer. What else has to happen? We were directed by the board to make changes with regards to special education, which we delivered to you. We have now come back with what is needed to provide those services. with the changes that were made. That's those 3 positions. So I can go through what we've presented to all of you, and I don't present them as, again, I don't want to say needs versus wants, because we have a lot of wants, and I think everything is very, very important. And it's hard for us to say one is more important than the other. But when I can't deliver a service to a student, that's not a want, that's a need. So there are some situations where I struggle a little bit here because there are a lot of wants, and I wish I can put them all in right now. So if the board wants to come back and say, for example, our priority is interventionists throughout the district, we can come back with a plan for that. We can, because it's already our visionary plan, because we're already looking years down the road of what we would like it to look like. I can't deliver all of that right now, or maybe I can, but then what else? What are we sacrificing? Because there is a sacrifice for that.
Why would there be a sacrifice for an interventionist or a reading specialist? Because that would, to me, that seems fundamental to student services and support. When you talk about a true need, that to me, especially at the middle school level, that to me seems like something we can't even, there's no question. Like, we can't compromise on that at all. Like, I'm surprised we went without one this year.
And as a middle school principal for years, I lived middle school as an assistant principal and principal for years. I agree with you that it's very important. But similar to the job coach situation, it's a balance. I'm sorry, I don't agree with everything that you're saying respectfully, and that we have to still balance a budget. We have great needs elsewhere. If we chose not to, which I cannot suggest this, but there's a big portion that we are moving forward with our high school renovation. That to me is a need. When I have sewage that's going through a hallway, so. You understand this is a balancing act. We may not agree with what that is, but you're my boss. So if you don't agree with that, tell me no and tell me move into another direction.
Absolutely, and I think that's what I'm doing.
There you go.
I think, right. Yeah, I think and that's important for all of us to make sure we're aware of and we recognize and we set in motion what that direction is moving forward. And I think that's why I needed to bring this to the table, just to make sure we bring some clarity to it, and have an understanding before we continue to move forward. And you know, like, I'm all about pouring in resources into the district, but I also want to make sure that we are optimizing those resources and putting them where they would best serve our students.
Thank you, Mrs. Walker. Anyone else who has not had Ms. Turner or Dr. Halloran, anything to contribute before we continue?
I think, you know, as Mr. Venezia had said, I feel like we have had a lot of information shared from Dr. Melber and in our conversations over time. I think I'd be ready to vote based on the idea that, again, we are at our highest tax rate and would have the ability to talk about, you know, how that is going to be spent in the upcoming months. I agree with the sentiment that the public comment and the veracity of some of those issues requires us to take a hard look at our spending. But again, I think for our vote here tonight, practically speaking, we've had opportunity to review the numbers up and down, and I think that we would be okay going forward with the intention of having some more conversation.
Okay. I think we're not even actually on the budget. We're on the tax levy resolution. So why don't we put it to a vote and, once we get there, and we can determine if we want to move forward with it or continue the discussion. I think the other thing that a lot of this is already planned or not a lot. At least a portion sounds like it's already planned to happen this summer with the conversations around the music program and coming back to administration with what they would actually need and where those positions would be. So at least one of the pieces sounds like it's already going to be moving forward. And I think we as a board will need to make that decision and direct administration where we want that to go. So, yes.
Ms. McTiernan, can you shed light on how we lost the interventionist and specialist? And can you also share how many math interventionists and reading specialists are at each school?
Every elementary school and one math interventionist at every elementary.
Do you want to get up?
2 and 1.
2 and 1.
At every elementary school.
Yeah. Dr. Taylor, can you come up, please?
Hi, Dr. Taylor.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Dr. Taylor.
So, at the middle school, when we were there, when I was at the middle school, we decided to go in a different direction. We had a reading specialist and we had a math interventionist. And when we split the 6th grade back, when they went to the elementary schools, we decided to go with 3 teams in 7th grade and 3 teams in 8th grade instead of having the 2 interventionists. So the interventionists ended up going to the elementary schools, so we didn't have interventionists anymore. We had 3 teams of teachers. So we had, a team of teachers is a team of social studies, science, English, and math. So we had 3 teams, so we had much smaller class sizes. So that's the direction that we decided to go at that time. So we did have interventionists, but we did not. That's the direction we decided to go.
Are interventionists certified?
Mm-hmm. They're certified teachers, yes, but you can have pretty much any certification to do that. There's not a specific certification that is required to be an interventionist.
Okay, so my other question is based off of the experiences, because it's the first year, right, that would have taken practice because the 6th grade just moved out of the middle school.
Correct. So it really was only 1 year. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to cut you off.
So that was my point. So it's only been 1 year. So what does this data show us about this 1 year? Like, was that a successful pilot? Was it? I know you're not.
Girl, I was going to say, I've been out most of the year, so I can't even tell you.
what is the data showing? Was it successful? Was it not successful?
We're off TSI, I can tell you that. So, that's a good thing.
Other than that, I need to gather that for you.
Yeah, I can work on that. I'll get that for you.
I think that's good data to have to say, yeah, we really need them back, or maybe we start with 1 or whatever the case may be. But I think that is also, we can't I know we like to rush and make decisions, but you can't make decisions without some type of data.
Right.
And we can't say, well, our students don't. You laughing at me?
No, I don't like to rush me.
You can't just, we can't just say, well, I don't think we need them anymore, but it seems like we had a pilot program.
Right.
And so
yes,
let's see what the data says.
Right. And it'll be 1 year's worth of data, right? But at the end of the day, it'll be data that I guess that we had while we had the interventionists. We'd have to track back to get that data. We pushed them in anyway. When we had our interventionists, we pushed them into the classroom. So when I first got there, they were doing a bunch of pullout, which wasn't super effective, right? Because we were pulling them out of the classes and having smaller classes. So we said, we looked at the data and it wasn't really giving us, the results that we wanted. So we decided to push the interventionists into the classrooms. Again, not seeing a whole lot of movement.
Yeah. I will also, thank you, Doctor.
Sure.
Can I interrupt for 1 minute? Sure. The only thing that I can say is our data, our current data, and our data over this is my 3rd year here, is showing that we have to do something different. Because we have data, the data that I can speak to is our achievement data. And over the past several years, our achievement data is not where we need it to be. So some of those changes that you are hearing are based on the change in the schedule that we are trying. And again, we're hearing, from members that, some individuals aren't happy with that. But I think we're trying something. And Mr. McCord has, come up with a schedule that we are working towards. But again, our data is not where it needs to be. So to answer your question directly, were the reading specialist and the interventionist impactful?
again, I think we would need to go back and look at all of that, but I don't think the results were showing at that point that overall, the whole program itself was efficient and successful. Our data is showing that, and it's very concerning.
Right, and it was definitely better when we pushed in, because we had, when we made those adjustments, and we, as you know, we were on TSI, targeted support and improvement. So we targeted school improvement. So we were there. So we had to make some changes. We had to do some things differently. So we felt that it would be better to have three teams, for each grade level. And sorry, I feel like I'm circling the plane. I need to land.
Can I just ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
So are you telling us that in lieu of having either a pull-out or a push-in, you went with smaller class sizes for everyone?
We had three, yes.
So that was your system to provide the supports to students, was to have overall smaller class sizes?
Yes.
Can you tell me what the class sizes were and what they went down to?
That's a good question. I don't know. They probably would know more. I don't know. I mean, they went down to, they had to be about 20 or so or less. I can look that up. Oh, they were larger? Okay. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll look that up. Oh, I don't know how that happened.
All right.
I'm sorry. Well, I won't. I'll look that up myself. I'll find it out and I'll give you guys that information. I'll look it up myself because we had 3 teams for each grade level. So
Thank
I'm
you,
sorry.
Dr. Taylor. I don't want to.
I don't want to be. I don't want to get in.
I'm not without knowing.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I'd rather have my information and my data. I don't want to get into anything, any back and forth with anybody.
And I think what might be some helpful for us, because we have, I think, a lot of the concerns, and I've had private or individual meetings and small group meetings with some teachers as well. There's a lot of concern at the middle school, and I think there was a big change there, taking 6th grade out. So I think it might be helpful if we had Mr. Record come and give us a presentation when he was prepared and had that data. No, you don't want that?
I have a bigger concern now.
Okay.
What is our policy for class sizes?
I think it's 25.
There's board guidelines.
There's a teacher in the audience saying that there's 27.
I think
is Dr. Pacito still in the room?
Yeah.
Dr. Pacito's in the back of the room.
It's 27. 27
It's 27
is max. Yeah. Yeah, I'll check the numbers. I'm sorry. I've been out for a while. So.
You don't have to apologize.
I'm sorry.
No need to apologize.
But I will look that up.
We're just fact collecting right now.
Yeah, and I appreciate your grace. I do.
you.
I appreciate that.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you for coming up.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Okay, so let's do the tax levy resolution, which is not the budget, just because we've been having this discussion under the wrong item. So, any further comment on the tax levy resolution? Okay, Ms. Cameron, can you please call the roll on that?
Ms. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Venezia?
Yes.
Ms. Walker? Aye. Mr. Weiser?
Yes.
Dr. Alan Savage?
Levy.
Yeah. No, that's not that. No, this is the resolution. This is not the budget.
This is that we're raising taxes.
Aye.
3.5%.
To what they will.
They're raising my taxes too, y'all. I'm right there with you.
Oh, I didn't hear, okay. Okay, sorry. Mr. Perry? Not present. Ms. Remington?
Yes.
President Overland?
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0. And I must have went right over Dr. Alan Savage. Okay, thank you. Motion passes 8-0.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the budget resolution adopting the district's 2026-2027 final budget?
So moved.
Okay. Moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second. All right. Now we can resume the discussion in the correct place.
So can I just clarify again, we are talking about the top level budget,
Right.
not the individual line items.
Correct. And we're not having public comment right now.
Ma'am, you can't speak from the audience. That is, no, you cannot. You will be removed from here.
Right.
I mean, that's going to be up to the board.
Mr. Weiser?
Yeah, okay, so to continue my thoughts from before. So it's still frustrating to me. Yes, we've had discussions, and I'll be honest, some of this is probably on me and not asking the right questions, but I still feel like we've talked about the budget, but I still have lingering questions about that budget. And yes, a lot of that has come from recent events and teachers showing up and especially students showing up. But my problem is still that it feels like there's questions that we have not gotten answers to. And again, I'll admit, maybe some of that's on me for not asking the questions that I have. But it's still frustrating, and I can't imagine, in some cases, if I want to move to music specifically, it's frustrating to me because some of what I've heard, and maybe this is just the way that we define terms, but I feel like this conversation in the beginning was, we're not cutting anything, we're not cutting staff, which then was also, okay, we're not cutting employees, but we are not renewing a long-term sub. So to me, that feels like it's cutting staff. It was, the music program would be the same, but it's going from a full semester to a quarter. So there's too many questions about music, and it was, I know I mentioned this at one point before, and then it's spiraled into, I don't know, like, yes, we could use intervention specialists, yes, there's, potentially some issues with PE, and I forget what was mentioned, one teacher for 600 students, and whatever the details are. For me, it's still, I don't have answers to those questions, which are, I feel like, very important questions. And I'm also being told, pass the budget, we'll figure it out later. We're not on a time crunch today. We're not on a time crunch 2 weeks from now. If it takes 2 weeks, or it takes until the end of the month to get clarification on those questions, then I'll feel more comfortable voting yes on this. But I guess I'm still stuck.
I know.
Well, I'm curious. Tell me what you think.
No, I understand that. I think we have gotten answers. I don't know that they're necessarily the answers that you wanted to hear, but there have been, to every question you've asked, we've received answers in the board packet or directly from administration. So I understand there's sort of a difference, I think you would say, in interpretation of some of it. And there are some, there was a clear change at the middle school where, they lost a grade and there's adjustments that are happening. And so again, we have to have those discussions as a board about how we're going to deal with those. Because I've had the conversations with a lot of the middle school teachers and union officials as well. And like, there is a level of discontent, I would say, at the middle school. So that's something that we need to address and work through. But I don't think that is something that we are going to be able to get a true, meaningful resolution to in the next 2 weeks, or maybe 30 days if we were to call a special meeting at the very last day of the month, because again, this is an incredibly difficult, busy time. Could we maybe get it done? Ms. McTiernan said she'll do whatever the board instructs her to do, but I think it would be a really big challenge. And to Dr. Alan Savage's point about being intentional and thinking through these things, that feels like we would be rushing to do it by that point versus taking our time through the summer and thinking through what our board priorities are, how we want to address some of these issues, because I just don't think we're going to get there in a meaningful way before the end of the month.
But it's still, it was roughly 2% tax increase for our basic needs, if you want to call it that. Another 1.5% increase for our for something else. It was options A, B, or C, which we still haven't even decided. But then it's, I've said this before. My feeling here, and I'll leave it at this. My feeling here is
Yeah, all right, why don't we vote? Okay.
My feeling here is we have an opportunity to invest in our teachers, and that's what matters. And I know you've said in the past that it's not either or, it's not teachers and it's not facilities, because we have to take bonds out for facilities. But at the end of the day, it's, you know, whatever that 1%, 1.5% is in revenue this year, that could be going to a teacher salary or multiple teacher salaries, which in multiple cases we've already acknowledged we need. So
if I just add, I don't disagree with you, Mr. Weiser, but that doesn't change with a vote tonight, because we'll be back here in 30 days voting on that same number. Now, maybe between now and then, there's some more discussions around transfer of funds at a line item level, but ultimately we'll be making those decisions after this budget.
It's the number that I'm voting on without clarification. And it's still, like, fundamentally, it's still just vote for it and we'll figure it out later.
Is your concern the $124 million number, or is your concern the 3.5% number?
I mean, isn't both?
It's
what we prioritize, what we're allocating it to.
And Ms. McTurnan, correct me if I'm wrong, but those are always adjusted as our, like, if you had 200 kindergartners that enroll in August, you would make changes. Correct, because I would need another kindergarten teacher. And again, it goes back to, I understand what everybody's saying, but at the end of the day, no new positions you will be created without the board approval. So if the direction is that, again, I'll go back to everybody is getting interventionists throughout the school and that's your direction, then that's what we're going to bring back to you for approval. And there's certain things that may not come back to you because, and again, I know we keep talking about funding, and yes, we are very fortunate in this district to have the funding that we have, but it's not endless. And so there are still decisions that have to be made. And I guess, you know, to back when Ms. Walker and I were talking back and forth, we love that direction. You want us to do this. That makes it so much easier for us to come back to you with exactly what you want. But that doesn't change the number and the percentage that's in front of you today. It doesn't, because we still come back and say, okay, we've delivered, here's what we want. I mean, that's why you're doing the strategic goals and plans right now. That dictates what we do on a day-to-day basis to work towards those goals. You all know that. So I hear what you're saying and I understand what you're saying. I don't totally agree with what you're saying, because I don't, and respectfully, because we love direction and we will work towards whatever that direction is that the board tells us to do. And I'm going to keep going back and saying, any new position that comes before you, you have to approve. And if we bring something before you that you don't agree with, or it's not part of the mission or vision of this district, then vote no.
This is not about the budget, but it is something that I think I don't want us to lose sight of. If we do not make the right decisions around this table in regards to our elementary schools, our middle school, and our high school, we run the risk of losing also the teachers that we have. So we just got all these teachers, custodians, administrators that we just retired and we all clapped, right? Because they were here for 33 years. That's going to cease, right? Because there's other school districts that are willing to say, no, you know what? This building does need a reading interventionist. This school does need a math interventionist. Our students are, this landscape of students is like none other that we have ever seen. These are COVID babies. I think the sixth graders that were the first year of COVID were sixth graders. They are now the graduating class. Is that accurate? Were you a sixth grader?
I was a sixth grader when the pandemic started.
Why are you still here? Aren't you tired? Don't you have school in the morning?
I have an internship, but I want to say bye to y'all when when the meeting ends.
Wrap it up.
So I right.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks for that.
Say bye to Dan.
So I just want to make sure that while we're talking about all of this, Scott, you said you talked to a lot of middle school teachers, as do I. And the morale is low. I don't think you said anything about morale.
I said there's a high level of discontent. I
That's
didn't
not
say
the same
morale.
thing as morale.
Similar.
That's not the same as morale. They're not synonymous. But what I will say is that they're asking for support. And so, Missy, I think that you're right, that as a board of 9, we need to give direction in regards to how we envision you and your team providing these teachers with what they need. And that's a discussion that is going to have to come from the goals and all the other things that we talk about. I understand that we're not going to have this number change if we vote on it tonight versus next week, but I still want to vote on it next week.
Second.
Well, let's take is that a motion to table or, okay. All right, well then let's vote, and if it gets rejected, we will try again next week.
It's not that it's not going to get approved.
Right, I'm saying tonight, if tonight.
The idea is to just have the conversation so that everyone's spirit
Well, do you
feels
want to
settled.
put a motion on the table?
Well,
Do
it's
you
the
want a
same-
motion, put a
it's the
motion
same
on the
practical
table?
effect.
I'll put the motion on the table.
Here's my 2 cents on the tabling motion. If you put that on, then in 2 weeks, we might have competing budgets that we're working from. This one, which will have different line items versus what may come forward, say 2 weeks from now. My suggestion would be if we vote it and vote down, it's cleaner. If we vote and we approve it, it's cleaner. A tabling motion means we're just bringing back this motion in 2 weeks.
And correct me if I'm wrong. And correct me if I'm wrong. What I'm hearing is I don't necessarily think we want to change line items, but I do think that we want to have more discussion. Are you talking about changing line items? I don't know if we can do that.
What would settle my soul is we have a conversation about the goals and we figure out what our goals are as a board, and then we approve.
Let's just be clear, that's what you would be doing, because your statutory obligation is to bring in a balanced budget. You have committed to your revenue tonight. Okay, it's the expenditure side that I think there's still debate over. So ultimately, if the expenditure side has to balance with the revenue side, you'd be playing with your line items, which could be your undesignated fund balance, some other areas of the personnel side of it, to keep that balance. That's really what you would be doing with a subsequent discussion.
And we're still, we haven't finalized our goals yet. So that is still a discussion that we need to do and have, and are either going to continue tonight or partially or next week. But I think, or tomorrow morning, we'll see. I still feel like we are not going to have enough of a change between now and 2 weeks that it's not worth passing this tonight. I fully commit to you and to our staff and community that we are not done with this conversation. I've said it meeting after meeting that we hear the community, we hear the teachers, throughout, we have to trust the administration. We do have trust and faith in the administration. And they give us data and proposals and recommendations, and we follow those. But this is something that we are going to be not only continuing to talk about through the summer, but if we get into next school year and we hear all of these things are coming true, that there's students not getting their lessons and stuff like that happening, then we as a board can say, okay, we gave it a shot, it didn't work out, we need to have somebody in right now. But and that may be something that even happens before then, because the music department is going to work this summer to tell us what they need. And so that's something that will be going on already. So I guess, but that's all, again, to say, I think those are not things that are going to be figured out between now and 2 weeks.
But there are line items in this budget.
That can be changed after
we vote on this budget.
Yes.
Line items on this budget can be changed to something else.
Absolutely.
Dr. Malber, is that true? Is that
Yeah.
All the time. Okay.
Isn't Dr. Malber back there?
He's hiding. He's doing his best to hide back there. Dr. Melber. Okay, so we will, he's emerged.
There is an allocation in this budget that the board has dedicated to a transfer for the construction fund. That you can change. If the board votes on the budget tonight and decides over the summer they want to hire more teachers, you can hire those teachers. They'll be added to our expenditure budget. We'll take less of a transfer into the construction fund. So yes, those numbers can change.
Dr.
Dr.
Malver.
Malver is-
Dr. Malver. You couldn't have come up an hour and a half ago and said started with that?
Nobody asked, to be fair.
Dr. Malber, is that the only line that we can move from?
No, you can move other lines, but that line item is about $1.6 million. So I think that would make up for a lot. Now, remember, if you want to move forward with the construction funding, you're looking at about a $4.6 million per year to do a high school renovation. That's to start it because the Act 1 index is coming down every year. So every year, the state is taking away your taxing power in order to bring in additional revenue. But for what you're looking at, there's more than enough money in that line item to make changes for if the board wishes.
Yeah, and what we've sort of been saying throughout this budget discussion is that if we are able to bring on a firm to give us actual, like real estimates about the high school renovation, we will be better informed to make those decisions about where we want to reallocate the fundings to staffing, because right now we're working on what's getting older and older, Schrader high-level estimates. And so we can, as I've said to you multiple times, if we don't want to do the stadium, we can put all that money into staffing or whatever decision we're going to make.
But I don't think we want to wait for the Schrader or
No, we don't have to.
for another report to come back before
Right.
addressing the
Absolutely.
the staffing
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just
issues.
saying that's going to, as we were moving forward, give us that clarity. Okay, any other comments?
I do. So, Ms. Kiernan, can you also help me with this? So, I heard you earlier say that there's an interventionist that is coming to the middle school.
Yes.
But they're being moved from somewhere else. Where are they getting moved from?
It's internal. They're already at the middle school. They're going to be
What were they
a
doing
reading.
prior?
They were a teacher. They're a teacher, and they're sitting in the crowd.
Teacher of what subject?
Social studies.
For what grade?
8th grade.
For 8th grade. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we're ready to take a vote. Ms. Cameron, you please call the roll.
Sure. Dr. Ellen Savage. I rotate, I'm so sorry. Sure. Dr. Halloran.
Yes.
Ms. Remington.
Yes.
Ms. Turner.
Yes.
Mr. Venezia.
Yes.
Ms. Walker.
Aye.
Mr. Weiser.
No.
President Overland.
Aye.
Dr. Alan Savage. Sorry. I need to talk slower.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-1.
Okay, thank you. And again, this is not the end of the conversation, Mr. Weiser. Where are we?
Can I make a motion to approve the 2026-2027 Homestead
Yeah.
Farmstead Exclusion Resolution?
You may. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Ms. Remington. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, can you please call the roll?
Dr. Halloran.
Yes.
Ms. Remington.
Yes.
Ms. Turner.
Yes.
Mr. Venezia.
Yes.
Ms. Walker.
Aye.
Mr. Weiser.
Yes.
Dr. Alan Savage.
Aye.
President Overland.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Okay, we are now going to move to open public comment on any school subject. Angelo Mastrola.
Can I just say that you are the most patient student ever? Thank you for hanging in.
Thank you, everybody. And before I begin, I would like to thank all of you for listening to me tonight. I know you guys have bigger fish to fry, but this is a big deal to me, so thank you, everybody. Good evening, board members. My name is Angelo Mastrocola, and it's a pleasure to be here tonight in front of all of you. I'm currently the senior class president at the high school and have been the president of the class of 2026 on the executive student council for the past 5 years. Holding this role on behalf of my peers has been one of my proudest accomplishments to this day. I would like to expand on my previous email I had wrote all of you and respectfully request that the long-standing tradition that the class president delivering a brief speech of reflection at graduation be restored. I say restored, as for those of you who may not know, this was a reoccurring and pivotal piece in the program and somehow dissipated from the ceremony. I found previous class presidents address their class every year at graduation, such as Rachel Elizabeth Miller at graduation in 2014 and Alyssa Marie Netback at graduation in 2016, I could find all the way up until recently in 2020. Typically, the reasons following this year mostly deal with the pandemic, which was my initial thought as to why the speech was no longer delivered. However, after looking into this matter further, I found that even in the climax of the virus during 2020, there was a student speaker who was not formally introduced as president, but spoke right before the board secretary's remarks, showing the flexibility of graduation proceedings. I'm aware that typically the board members don't usually assist planning graduation, and can assure you all that I had originally taken my request to administration at the high school. When I had reached out via email in mid-February of this year expressing my interest, I was met with the response that my request could not be guaranteed, but would be taken into consideration, and I could expect a response in the coming future. After not receiving a response to my follow-up email, I had thought it would be best to discuss this matter in person, as I'm well aware humans get busy. When I did, I was initially told that the programs had already been printed, and that it would not be possible. However, in the program already comes the passing of the gavel with the class president's name under it. I had hoped presenting this solution would allow a brief speech to be added to that part of the ceremony. Then, I was met with the reason that I had not expected, which was that if I speak at graduation, every class president in the future would need to speak as well. And that's exactly why I think the tradition should be restored. Valedictorians and salutatorians earn the privilege of speaking through their academic achievements, and they absolutely deserve recognition for their hard work. However, class presidents and student council members contribute to the school in a different way. Much of our work is done on behalf of the entire student body. While much of our work goes unnoticed, its purpose is to benefit the entire school community rather than just ourselves. Throughout my 4 years at Phoenixville Area High School, I've tried to leave a positive impact on the school. Being elected by my classmates 3 separate times is evidence that they trust me to represent them. For me, there is no greater way to leave this impact that I aspire to than to restore the tradition to the people who can relate to me most, future class presidents. I hope that students who dedicate themselves to serving their classmates will continue to have a place in one of the most significant ceremonies in their high school experience. I believe this is a simple and fair request, especially with it only being a 2 to 3 minute speech that I am requesting, very similar to what I'm delivering now. And I respectfully ask the board to consider restoring the class president graduation speech tradition for the class of 2026 and for future graduating classes. Thank you all for your time, consideration, and service to our district.
I would just like to add, I have a high school senior, and Angelo's being modest because he's been the president really all the way back to kindergarten, it seems like. And he's been a fantastic leader for the entire student body. He's been a great ambassador for the district. So I think it would be a very worthwhile consideration on the part of the administration.
Can I just ask a question? When did that end? Because the last graduation I went to, the president spoke. So,
No.
Not since I'm here.
I've only been here 2 years.
It's been sporadic. I have not been to all of them, but I had a kid graduate in 2013. There was not a speaker then. I think there was one in 2014.
There was one in 2020.
It's been erratic.
There was one in
But I will point out, there's nothing in the board policies about processes for graduation.
To the point that it is a different role that deserves recognition and deserves that spot. I think you make a really wonderful, eloquent case. But I agree and think that the class president should be speaking.
I agree.
Yeah. We will continue to have this discussion for sure. Thank you, Angelo. We appreciate you coming out and sticking with us tonight. Lisa Longo. I think, no, only former students. No, I mean adults. I was just trying to be funny at 9:40 p.m. p.m. And it was a flop.
Yeah, Scott, that's all right, because my daughter tells me, you're not that funny, Mom, all the time, so I get it. I don't know if this is the board's purview, but I would like to just say this young man deserves the recognition, and I really hope that you will direct the administration to add this. I do think it is within a governance thing, right? There's always this conversation, govern versus manage. This is something, you're restoring a tradition, you're setting a policy level thing. You can do this, and I really hope you will. Thanks.
Thank you. Stephanie Nicolosi.
Hi, yes, I'd like to thank everyone for your hard work on the budget. I really appreciate the conversation and all of the back and forth and your commitment to making sure that the community is feeling heard. I do know you've passed that budget, but I would really like for a commitment from the members of the board to adding whether it's needed extra meetings over the summer to get this budget nailed down. To really reflect the asks that have been made for the gaps in staffing and programs that we feel and see as a community before the beginning of the next school year, before August. Because next year, when you start and have these conversations, we're already into the next school year, we're already being affected. It's already a year of our time and our students' education being lost. As you all know, it takes time to hire someone. And I would really personally like to see, since you already have staff that was identified and working in the district, whether it be, a longtime sub, just, a conversation about continuing that position in the interim while you identify and figure out where those needs are truly needed. Because that would be a simple conversation and fix. You already know who they report to, you already know where they're working, and you already know that we have communicated an impact to the overall global music community here at our schools. And lastly, I just want to reiterate, I really, really, really feel a strong importance to physical education, the arts, and music on the impact of our education system, and whether your pilot programs are working and things like that. Again, it all comes back to getting your data. And I know an earlier comment said, you don't want to handcuff our teachers with, not allowing them to have those small moments of screen time in schools. But I think they only need those moments of screen times in school if they're not feeling adequately supported. So again, we need to really reflect and get feedback from our teachers and our communities before we're making these decisions in June about what is most needed for their support systems in their schools and classrooms. And so I'd love to see a policy change, maybe getting a survey of what is the most urgent need in facility-wise in your school, and what is the most urgent need staff-wise in your school. Simple questions that can be targeted and get key feedback at an earlier date and time. So thank you again so much, everyone.
Stephanie.
Thank you.
Kristen Myers.
Good evening. Thanks again for everything you do. There was a lot of hot topics that have been filling your schedule since January. Remember when Latin was a hot topic a couple months ago? Well, I have an update for you. Our Latin students went to the Pennsylvania Junior Classical League State Convention at Penn State University on Memorial Day weekend. The high school delegates came in second in the state in their division. They earned the Growth Award. 14 Latin students went. 2 years ago, only 2 students attended. Multiple students also won individual awards. So thank you for keeping the Latin program and supporting them. Have a great night.
Thank you, Ms. Myers. All right, board, it is 9:47. Do we want to roll into goals tonight or do it at the next meeting? Since it's a lighter agenda next meeting? No?
It's it'll be the last meeting, so, there's a lot on it. Yeah. I don't know that it's this intense, but there is a lot of information.
Okay. Well, I know Dr. Allen said she had to.
I have to get home to my child and my husband because I'm newly married.
I have to get to my babysitter also. So.
Okay. We'll, unless there's any strong objections, we'll do it next time. And I mean, there were two board goals. Well,
Yeah, we do have an information session.
oh yeah, we do have the information. Yeah, we'll do that quickly. Okay, so we are going to push the board goals discussion for everybody's sake to next week. Yes, I keep, sorry, next meeting. And we will finish it up then. So everyone come ready for that discussion. Yes, June 15th. So at 9:49 p.m., I am adjourning the meeting into an information session.